What is up? Welcome back to Softcore History. I am your host for the week, Rob Fox, joined as always by Dan Regester.
Rob, I want you to know you are cared for, you are loved.
So, did I not look okay walking into the studio today?
And if you get a phone call about financing a jet ski, ignore it.
What? Did you steal my identity?
Don't worry about it.
Or did you add me as a co-signer without me knowing?
Don't worry about it.
Okay. I mean, I don't know with you because literally all of your income is disposable.
I try to wash it as much as possible.
Yeah. So you pay with cash for a jet ski?
Everywhere I go. Well, it's under your name.
Right. The payday loan was under my name. You got a check receipt, or what do you call it? You got a check stub, and
say it's fraudulent, and
that's
have
how
them wipe it off.
The economy works. Actually, if you just call your bank and you're like, I didn't spend that $8,000, they'll be like,
but can you wait 60 days, please?
As long as you need.
Okay.
As long as you need. But yeah, money's free if you steal it.
They're gonna come poking around your place anyway.
Probably.
No, that's the address I gave. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What's my address?
You want me to say it on air?
I guess I don't.
Because it's now the company address.
But yeah, that's true. Yes, it is. Which is sweet. So someone will be coming around my place anyway. If we say something that makes someone too angry.
Well, it's going to be a repo, man.
Softcore History LLC. Just Google that. Someone shows up to my house. I'm giving too much information on how to do that anyway. But a dedicated murderer would already know this, so I'm not really giving away anything.
Perhaps my foot guy, the person I sold feet photos to.
I don't live there. His feet don't live there. His feet don't live there. I live there. His feet don't live there. So don't go to there.
Wants me to pop out of a cake for his birthday.
Feet first?
Offer me $3,000.
That's not enough.
It's not enough.
Are you kidding me? To pop out of a stranger's cake?
Never meet your stalkers.
Yeah, I think that's
the rule.
Everyone knows that. That saying is so obvious. It's not a saying. Never meet your heroes. People will always never believe. There'll always be people that'll never believe. Never meet your heroes. No one has ever been under the illusion that it might be okay to meet your stalker.
Well, they say confront your problems head on.
Yeah. The only thing to fear is fear itself.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not afraid of the stalker, he can't kill you.
Yeah. If I pop out of that cake, face first.
Head on.
Mm-hmm.
Head on. Probably should have thrown his in before the show started, but we'll do it now.
Don't do it at all. You sound like a mumbling fool.
But my points are so much better.
They're not.
They're so much better.
You go down a really bad nicotine-riddled rabbit hole.
Do I? I'm just like, nah.
You spaz out.
Just get into weird shit. I need to spaz out today because I walked into the office or the studio, whatever the fuck, absolutely dead. I'm feeling good now.
It's your choice. You
Slammed
have
it.
3 children.
Yeah, I know. It's my body, my choice.
Mm-hmm.
I could leave them. I could still do the show, but leave them.
You don't have to pay child support either.
That's also another common myth. The government will do it eventually.
It's your choice to pay child support.
Yeah.
You can opt out.
Honestly, in a state like Texas, I feel like I can get away with it. So.
No, you can, as long as you promise not to see him ever again.
Oh, is that how that works?
Yeah.
Oh, there's an easy out.
You're paying to see your kids.
Oh. Well, what do you know?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
That's why I have 12 kids around the country. You don't know about it.
It sounds like you barely know about it.
I can't. I legally can't.
You forfeited your right.
Mm-hmm. And they're going to assemble a team to avenge, I guess, their childhoods.
Yeah.
And they're going to kill me in cold blood.
Their fatherless childhood. Well, the fatherless are the killers, so makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Might as well kill their dads who aren't there.
But I'll look up in that pool of blood. Proud
that you became men.
You're welcome for that chip on your shoulder.
Yeah. I gave you something.
A purpose.
With my absence, I could never give you with my presence.
A common enemy.
Yeah.
I've
motivated you beyond all, and then they just shoot you 5 more times in the face.
Pop, pop.
Yeah,
that's how I want to go out, though.
Shot 5 times in the face
by
while
my
bleeding out.
Yeah, bastard kids.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Can you think of a more magical and, enchanting way to lose your life?
I don't know. Crucifixion.
They can crucify me too. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be funny if they did.
So my sister got engaged this weekend. Congratulations to her and her fiance. I am going to marry them though. So.
Oh, are you the chaplain?
I'm the chaplain. I gotta get ordained, I guess, online. But I requested to dress like the Pope and do the entire Mass in Latin.
And what did they say to that?
They said, we'll see.
You should have. I'll do it. By the way, if you dress as the Pope, I will go to the wedding as your right-hand man in a Swiss Guard uniform with a pike.
Okay. I was thinking you and Jake could just pop in as the Boondock Saints.
I hate that movie.
Why do you hate that movie?
It's an awful movie.
It's a cult classic.
Yeah, by morons.
Same as our podcast.
Like idiots hate. Yeah,
a cult classic that loved by morons.
Well, by morons. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I shouldn't shit on it. Why shit on it?
At least that's how we justify doing the show every week.
We literally, right before Dan was like, how long do we keep doing this?
Yeah. When do we quit? When is it not worth it?
Never. I need the money. So
it's doing just well enough to not be able to quit.
Dude, it's enough money that you can't walk away from it.
No.
But you also can't live on it.
We're like chained by this show.
Things are going financially great.
It's our personal prison.
Yeah. So let's talk about some fun financial stuff today.
Cool. Let's do it.
We're talking tariffs, baby.
Oh, man.
You read the news lately? You hear about this? See about this?
You know, it's a good pivot or transition from winter-themed episodes because they do not do well. Apparently, our audience hates the winter.
Yeah.
I know it's April. It's still snowing around the country here and there.
It's chilly here.
It got really cold this weekend. It was weird.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the Balloon Man episode, which I thought was pretty good, did not do that well. The Balto episode, the lovable dog.
A dog.
Saved an entire town. Nobody wanted to hear about it.
People say they like dogs.
But then you give them a dog episode.
And they don't care. Well, the problem is they never see a dog. They don't want to hear you talk. You want to hear someone talk about their dog?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'll talk about dogs all day.
The funniest thing the other day, he like grabbed the curtain because he thought it was like a person. And he was like, get out, but it was just a curtain. You want to hear that story for 20 minutes?
It's probably better than their existence.
What, the person's existence?
Yeah, because, I mean, that's probably the highlight of their week.
Well, if someone's telling you that story, it seems
certainly
to me that
is,
it's
yeah.
obviously the highlight of their week.
And tell me about their accountant job.
If they have an accountant job, they're having a good time.
Or they're working in software sales.
Yeah, that's...
Did you meet your Q1 goals, boys and gals?
What would you rather hear about? Someone's fantasy team or their job?
Their job, because I can at least get a better understanding of essentially what their entire life is. Their fantasy team, it does not interest me because A, I hate fantasy sports, and B, I hate fantasy sports.
If someone tells you about their fantasy team, you immediately know what their life is.
It's
bleak.
It's pretty sad.
It's bleak. They just walk up to you and they're like, dude, our draft, I like third round, and like, you know, dude, Mahomes was still there. It's just like, all right.
Because it's typically dudes that are playing for like a, I don't know, $400 end of season pot.
Or just some stupid fucking trophy that them and their friends made.
Not having to do anything embarrassing by finishing in last place.
There's no part of me at 39 that would be like, yeah.
The only thing
I'll tuck my wiener in and walk around a playground.
Is appealing about a fantasy league, though, is going on a boys' trip and having the draft. That's fun because you can kind of base an entire weekend on that. Maybe go golf.
Just do it for like the first round of March Madness. Just go to a state with sports gambling and go to a casino.
Yeah, go to Vegas.
Well, now you can go to a bunch of different places. You go to New Orleans for that, too.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to the fucking Harrah's right off Bourbon.
I don't care.
Watch games all day.
Sure.
Yeah, although I don't think they give you free drinks for sports gambling.
No.
They
don't.
Which is like half the point of going to a casino and gambling for me.
Make a whole weekend in Vegas so they got golf, obviously the casinos. You can go to the Sphere.
Yeah, I know you're obsessed with the Sphere.
It's the best thing we've created in modern
It's our pyramid.
times.
It's our pyramid.
It's way cooler than the pyramids.
Yeah. I personally believe that humans didn't build the Sphere. I think it's too high tech.
Yeah.
We didn't do it.
It wasn't people.
Yeah, people didn't build the
It
Sphere.
was automation.
Who did you see building it? Did you ever? I never saw a single construction photo of the Sphere. It was just there one day.
Mm-hmm.
That is a spaceship that landed. And they gaslit you. Pyramids were built by Egyptians, though. Anyway, we're talking tariffs today because they're in the news. But we're not talking current tariffs, obviously. Why the fuck would we do that? But tariffs have a long history in the United States, mostly of pissing people off.
Yeah. They typically are not well received.
No. One of the things you'll hear from a lot of Confederate apologists is when they're talking about the Civil War is that it wasn't caused by slavery. It was caused by
States' rights.
them tariffs. It's the tariffs, man. It was all the tariffs. Wasn't slavery. Wasn't none of that. It was the tariffs. The thing about that excuse, though, or that reasoning, is that it's bullshit. It's not accurate in any way whatsoever.
We're too damn Yankees, so of course we're gonna side against that shit.
I get into it. I'm not just gonna leave it at that.
All I gotta say is take that L, boys. Hold it.
Eat it. The thing is, though, it is mostly bullshit. They're not totally wrong.
What do you think the South's more upset about? Losing the Civil War or the last two national championships?
Well, now the Natties. That's fresh. That's a fresh wound.
Back-to-back years.
To Yankee states.
It's unfortunate for
right?
you boys.
Not even a border state. Not even like Maryland or Missouri or Kentucky, which will never win a.
It's always been
national
Ohio versus the South.
Kind of. Grant was from Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
So, tells you all you need to know. Ohio strikes again. Didn't even beat an SEC team, though.
Didn't have to.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, they did beat SEC teams, or at least one SEC team on the way. But, yeah, they didn't win. They didn't play them in the Natty. The people who talk about tariffs, they're full of shit, but they're not totally wrong. Tariffs did help widen the chasm, I guess you could say, between North and South. Like, it was one of the big things that they got pissed off at each other for before the events leading up to the Civil War. It helped kind of draw the line, but it was not tariffs. But the reason the South was very mad about tariffs really just goes back into that it made slavery less profitable. It was hurting their system.
The bottom line.
It was hurting their bottom line, but it was also hurting their system in general, their way of life. It was hurting that because everything for antebellum South really does go back to slavery and agrarianism and oligarchy and the rich landowners running things. Because as fucked as black people were in the South, which is their number one, every white person who wasn't a landholder was almost as fucked as black people, but fucked pretty well themselves.
Yeah, dude, forget slavery. Why didn't they just bring in a bunch of indentured servants from Ireland?
I didn't want those people there. A bunch of papists.
Yeah, but they're expendable.
They didn't like them, though. They didn't want that.
Okay.
They didn't want the Irish because they were expendable, but they were free. They might be able to get up to what they wanted to.
You could kill them and
No one's
sign their signature, which was just a giant X on a dotted line, and you could do whatever you wanted to.
I believe it's a clover for the Irish. They would draw a clover.
3-leaf or
4? 4, obviously.
Nah, they weren't that lucky.
Well, that's the irony.
Mm-hmm.
We said this before in the show a long time ago, that luck of the Irish is actually a cruel joke, like calling a big guy tiny or something.
We're also incredibly dumb. I have a clover on my back. It is not 4 leaves.
Yeah.
Why did I do that?
I don't know.
I gave myself a 3-leaf clover on my back.
You just drew a weed on your back.
Yeah. Why did I do that?
Might as well put a dandelion on
I have
there.
a shamrock that's not a 4-leaf clover. I'm retarded.
Can you get one just put in there?
I'm probably going to get the Celtic cross with the clover covered up at some point. Because it's a tattoo I got when I was fucking 17.
Just get it removed.
No, I'd rather get a cover up.
Okay.
It's way easier.
Is it? I don't
less
even know.
invasive. Like, you know how hard it is to get tattoos removed?
I don't, because I don't
And
have
how
any.
it hurts, too.
I don't have any. I haven't paid someone $800 to draw on me.
Well, this is a little bit more than $800.
Yeah, I know.
more.
I was being generous with that.
But the tattoo on my back was like, I don't know, $100.
Yeah. You got that on like a pier, right? Or on the boardwalk?
No, it was a franchised tattoo shop.
Okay. I thought you did it on your...
Like an RC
I
Tats.
thought you did it on like your senior weekend. Didn't you get a tat on your senior weekend?
No. I did get my frat tat to get a beer discount
I know. We all know the story of the frat tat.
at a liquor store.
You still get it?
If I go to Twin Liquors in the greater UCF area, yeah,
All right, if we're ever there, I'm like, hey man, we're
scan it.
Yeah, I'm like, we're gonna go see if that works still.
Mm-hmm.
Some guy's gonna be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
The guy's probably gone.
Yeah, like dead. So it really all does go back to slavery and racism for how the South works. Even like they were mad about tariffs, but don't ever let anyone fool you on that. And you don't have to trust me on it. You can just read their Constitution, which says no bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law denying or impairing the right of property in Negro slaves shall be passed. Or you can ask the Confederate Vice President Alexander Stephens in his speech, which was called the Cornerstone Speech, which was basically what the Confederacy considered that him just laying it out. Like, here's why we're doing this shit, man. He wrote, our new government is founded upon the great truth that the Negro is not equal to the white man, that slavery, subordination to the superior race, is his natural and normal condition.
I'm going to cut that clip with no context.
Yeah, please do.
Just so we can maybe bring in another audience. It's not the one we want, but it rarely is.
Look, money's money, I guess, at this point. Just put it out there, see if anyone's like, that guy's making some sense. And he sounds real articulate.
Mm-hmm.
Like it ain't even...
We just get a giant spike from northern Idaho.
What are those dudes that are like, think everything's maritime law?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
There's like some people that think like we're technically governed by the Navy or something weird like that. I don't wish I knew more, actually.
You thought of this in Idaho?
No, they're up there.
They're a landlocked state.
I understand that. They're not well people.
They're living by the rules of the ocean.
Yeah. They're not well people. I'm fucking telling you, it's a real fucking thing, man.
There's building pirate ships up there.
Yeah. So he delivered that speech, and that was kind of like the whole, like, it was basically their Declaration of Independence. There was not actually, I didn't know this, there was not an independent declaration, like a encompassing Declaration of Independence for the Confederacy. States gave theirs, though. Texas wrote, which is fun. We hold as undeniable truths that the government of the various states and of the Confederacy itself were established exclusively by the white race, for themselves and their posterity, that the African race has no agency in their establishment, and that they were rightfully held and regarded as an inferior and dependent race. Mississippi said, it advocates the equality of the white race and the black races, a doctrine at war with nature, in opposition to the experience of mankind, and in violation of the plainest revelations of divine law.
Never care what Mississippi has to say.
It's not ever super important, and I extend that all the way to current college sports.
Of course. Where was Jefferson Davis from? Texas?
I thought he was
Is he a Virginia boy?
Virginian, but I could be wrong about that. He was Kentucky. He was born in Kentucky, but he was a rep from Mississippi.
Okay.
So he was probably really a Mississippian by culture, I guess you could
I
say.
don't know much about him.
We should do an episode sometime.
Yeah.
He was one of the dudes that led that. We did an episode on the little West Point rebellion, like the drunken rebellion at West Point.
Yeah.
He was part of that.
Okay.
So always getting up to stuff. That one, little scamp.
Bit more of a troublemaker than Robert E. Lee.
Yeah, fucking boner.
Seems like a better time because Lee was a nerd.
No one said Jefferson Davis was a bad hang. And I'm not here to declare that on this podcast.
I know nothing about the man.
I guess TBD, but
Could
if
have
he
been.
led a rebellion about getting wasted at college, I'll give him some points.
Yeah.
And again, Lee was a fucking nerd. But all of that,
Lee's dad, though, was a bit of a badass, right?
he
He was a part of the Revolutionary
I
War.
thought it was his grandpa, Light Horse Harry
Light
Lee.
Horse, yeah.
He was a badass, but I think that was his. Oh no, yeah, that was his
It was
dad.
his dad.
Yeah, he was a badass. One of our great cavalry commanders in the American Revolution.
Let's do an episode on him.
We should. He's
The better Lee.
He's
the superior Lee.
absolutely the better Lee. So that all of that is just to say, when they talk about the tariff stuff, and they're like, well, it wasn't about slavery. They're putting this in their official documents and their foundational, writings and stuff like that. They're like, nah, it's about that black people suck and they should be our slaves. That's why we're fighting. However, there were problems with tariffs that kind of are hilarious in that everyone in this situation is a fucking asshole.
They're getting hit with tariffs by anything made with slave labor.
No. Nothing like that. We wouldn't
how,
do that.
How are they affected by tariffs then?
I'm gonna get into it.
Okay.
That's what this episode's about.
Get to the point, dog.
Do you want to talk about your jet ski more?
We could. So it's technically our jet ski.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, it's your jet ski.
It seems like it's mine. Yeah.
It's in my possession.
That's 9/10 of the law.
Mm-hmm.
And the 1/10 that isn't that part of the law is
financially you're responsible.
That's the 1/10 is the financial part that I have to pay, but you own it.
But I have the fun. Yeah, you pay, I play.
Look, the law is the law. I can't argue it, and I won't. I respect the law.
I think it's a good financial decision.
I guess so. I guess if I pay it off, maybe my credit will be, be like, wow, that guy pays his debts.
Just ignore it.
Or that a repo man comes, I'm like, you can look for the jet ski.
It's not here, bud.
Like, trust me, I wish it was here because I want you to take it, but it's not.
And you'll never find it.
And he won't tell me where it is.
No.
It's on a lake in the Adirondacks.
Dude, Lake Austin, just ripping it.
Do they allow? I don't think they do.
I don't care.
Yeah, fair enough. You're already outside the law on it.
I'm a rebel without a cause.
It doesn't fucking matter.
I'm just going to be listening to Freebird. Just revving it up. Taking out people on paddle boards.
Oh, so you're on Ladybird.
Yeah, I can go on Ladybird Lake.
I love that. Someone should just do that.
Hitting up the sandbar.
Just take an absolute engined water machine.
Just spraying these fools.
With fucking toxic water. There's like an algae bloom and you just go up next to a bunch of dogs and
Side splash.
Side splash.
A homeless dude taking a shit on the side of the lake.
Toss it back at him.
Yeah. Right in his face.
I mean, as soon as he takes a dump in the lake, it's indistinguishable from the lake.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He's getting covered with brown water regardless.
It's all shit. It's all shit at this point.
It's shit all the way down.
And then some rebar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, again, it wasn't tariffs, especially not tariffs that were passed. This is the important part, too, when they talk about tariffs. Tariffs that were passed 33 years before the Civil War started. So keep that in mind. When like, it was the tariffs. Oh, that must have happened, 10 months before the Civil War? And that's where no, it was 33 years before the fucking Civil War. But the tariffs did suck. And the tariffs we're talking about, or the tariff, I suppose. It's one big tariff. It was called the Tariff of Abominations.
Mm-hmm.
And it was passed in 1828.
We do not negotiate with tariffs.
With tariffists.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be good branding if any politician was smart enough to do that.
Listen here, Rand Paul.
Like a European or Chinese. Like, we don't negotiate with tariffs.
Yeah.
Tariffists.
Macron just comes out with that.
That'd be fire.
Mm-hmm. But he's not smart enough to do that.
Nope. Certainly not. He married a woman 3 times his age.
Fucking idiot.
Fucking moron. Now, granted, he's French, so I assume he has a parade of teenage mistresses.
And dudes.
And dudes, yeah. I just said teenage mistresses. A twink can be a mistress.
Mm-hmm.
So, either way, it works.
Yeah.
This was not the first tariff in U.S. history, of course. Just one of the most egregious. And I am serious when I say this. When Southerners tell you, oh, it was the tariffs, man, they're full of shit. But they are not wrong.
I've never heard a Southerner be like, it's the tariffs.
Oh, boy. You don't meet the people I meet then.
No, I meet way less educated Southerners.
Yes. But there's like a hard ceiling on the education of them to talk about tariffs. Like, they're not intelligent enough to realize, like, I guess even read the Confederate Constitution or anything, but they are intelligent enough to, like, pull that, try to make that work.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? These tariffs.
Their brain must be in a pretzel right now then.
Oh.
If they have to defend tariffs.
That's one thing I was going to say. The Venn diagram of people who probably love the Trump tariffs and then talk about how these tariffs of 1828 were bullshit and fucked over the economy and made the South want to secede. It's a circle.
1828?
1828.
This is Jackson.
Adams and Jackson. This is part of
Q dog Quincy.
Yeah, this is part of the nullification crisis under Jackson, but Adams signed it into law, and we'll get to that because Jackson won the 1828 election, but obviously took over in 1829. Not the first tariff. There've been tariffs since the start of the United States. The 1828 tariff was in part a series of tariffs that began after the War of 1812 and the Napoleonic Wars. Those tariffs were put in place because essentially during the Napoleonic Wars, Britain was Britain was the manufacturing hub of the world basically at this point. Britain was like, fuck, we can't sell our shit to Europe anymore because it's on fire.
Yeah.
So we need a new market. We were a growing industrial country, a growing consumer economy. So they turned around, started selling to us. This fucked American manufacturers who were not as developed as Britain was already in full industrial revolution. We were catching up at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So our manufacturing capacity and our manufacturing technology could not match what Britain had. So to protect the manufacturers, who were almost exclusively in the North, a protective tariff was put in place in 1816, and then the rates were increased in 1824. This was specifically done to protect American industry, which almost exclusively helped the North. For all intents and purposes, exclusively helped the North. At the detriment of the South. To the detriment of the South.
What English imports was the South relying on?
All kinds of shit, machine parts and stuff like that. The South didn't make anything.
Right.
The South was agrarian. So they had raw goods. They had cotton, they had tobacco, cash crops, stuff like that. What they needed was shit.
Plows.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff like that. Things to, now, they would either ship it raw back to England, right? So for English textile mills and stuff like that to handle, or they would send it or they would get it to a point themselves and then send it to the North or send it to England or whatever. Although the South was extremely under-modernized. It was not a modernized place at all, and we'll get to that. But one thing they were able to do, too, is just almost exchange the cotton still at a profit for these, whatever machinery or whatever else they needed.
Okay.
So they could get cheap goods, harvest their shit for cheaper, and then sell it. It was a free market economy, minus the slavery.
This is kind of why they side with the South during the Civil War.
The British?
Yeah.
A little bit. It's why they were potentially thinking about it. Also, I think they kind of just didn't like the fact that the United States was a growing power.
Cause a little division. You already have these established relationships.
Yeah. It was potentially in their economic interest to do that.
We need to pay back England.
What do you mean?
We need to cause some division there.
Yeah, I agree. Fuck them. We should
break them back into their kingdoms.
I think we should have waited until Hitler launched Operation Sea Lion, invaded England, and then saved them. Really make them owe us.
Could also just be a long-term play. Hitler's still alive, apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
He's down in Argentina.
I thought he was on the moon now. Argentina to Antarctica.
Yeah, you're right. He escaped Argentina, ended up in the launch pad in Antarctica, and now he's on the dark side of the moon.
Dark side of the moon, yep. So southern states, South Carolina in particular, fucking furious about these tariffs. Fucking hated them. It was fucking their economy. It made everything more expensive. Now, they were forced to buy things from the North. Manufactured goods, they were, instead of buying them cheaper from the UK in a free market system where prices had to compete with each other, now the tariffs made it so the only place they could essentially buy from was the North.
Oh no, did the North just jack up prices?
Yes.
We're dicks.
Yes.
Things
got more expensive.
We did not have the best interest for our entire country.
No, it fucked the South. It did fuck the South. I'm not here to say that the tariffs didn't fuck the South and they were being babies about it. I'm just saying it was the slavery. They wanted the slavery. They were worried we were going to take their slaves away. That's why they seceded. These tariffs, though, they had every right to be mad about these tariffs. Even if it was really, in the end, they were mad that their slavery was less profitable. regardless of that, the tariffs fucked them.
And Jackson did this.
Adams did it. So we're going to this is the best part of the whole thing, which is why don't feel too bad for the South. Don't feel too bad for the South.
It's like Quincy. You can't call him Adams.
Quincy signed it. Don't feel too bad for the South. We'll get into that right now. So northern states were all about those tariffs because it helped their industrial economy at the expense of the South. But who cares about those motherfuckers? That in their minds. So one might wonder, though. Okay.
Also, a worldly man like Quincy, not wanting to, have a fruitful trade with international partners. That's interesting.
We'll get into that a little bit as well. We'll get into all that, why this happened in 1828. So one might wonder, though, okay, if the tariffs hit, shouldn't that have brought manufacturing jobs to the South? Why didn't the South start to industrialize to make their own economy self-sufficient? Do you know why? Why they didn't?
Lazy.
They didn't. They literally didn't fucking want to.
They were addicted to mint juleps, and they were just sipping on it on their porches in a hot summer day. And they're like, this is not the life for me.
That is not the life for me. I ain't gonna sweat in the factory. I'll sweat on this porch all day. Oh, that man julep.
Real heat here.
Oh boy,
It's getting up there.
one of my favorite quotes from any Southern landowner. I forget who it was, but they said it in Ken Burns' Civil War. It's just like, I'd rather be burning in hell than one of them boys out there in that field. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. But think about it.
I ain't gonna be working no factory job.
So factories were a little bit of a risky investment. So that credit where credit is due there. They didn't want to take a financial risk at all, even though
Probably pollutes the city.
they don't care about that.
You don't think they care about that in the
But
South?
no one cared about pollution in the 1800s.
The smog. It's gross.
I'm sure they did go up to New York sometimes. I'm like, this was a hellhole.
I can't breathe, honey.
Oh Lord. But really, they just didn't want to modernize. They didn't want to do anything. All the landowning aristocrats and all the landowning oligarchs, the politicians who were those people, they liked their way of life.
Yeah.
They liked sitting on a porch in seersucker, drinking a mint julep, and watching people work for free.
This is God's country,
And
honey.
I get it.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool life.
I get it. I get it. I get why you would want to keep that. Even at the expense of everyone else who lives there. Not just slaves. Obviously the slaves.
Mm-hmm.
But not just the slaves. The South was comically behind the North in every single way because there was a cultural aspect to it where they're like, this is our way of life. We're agrarian.
Mm-hmm.
We're landowners. We work the land. We don't need them railroads. We don't need them big old cities. In fact, the capital of the Confederacy was essentially the only fucking southern city that industrialized at all. The richest city in the South was the only one that industrialized. Richmond was the only one that had any semblance of an industrial capacity. New Orleans was more of a port.
Richmond is not an impressive city.
Not anymore, no.
I've driven through it many a time.
Is that on your Philly to Orlando?
Philly to here, too. I've driven through Richmond.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Random.
Just depends what way you want to go.
Fair
Been
enough.
through West Virginia. Virginia's actually beautiful. It's like low-key one of the best states in the country.
Oh, I wish Richmond was a bigger metropolis because then Virginia might be the best state in the fucking country.
I wouldn't live in the city, though. I would live, open
In
land,
the
Virginia.
DC burbs.
No, Southern Virginia.
I'd do Charlottesville. I've heard Charlottesville's rad.
Tiki torch owning white like you.
Well, in my backyard, maybe to keep the mosquitoes away.
Yeah.
Mosquitoes are what are called Jews. Real bloodsuckers.
Well, they're not going to be around. They're not venturing in those parts.
Not anymore, boy. So the South was like, dude, no, this is our way of life. Like, we're not doing this city factory bullshit. So they didn't have they never bothered to build the railroad capacity. They never bothered to urbanize very much. I mean, they had New Orleans, which predates the United States of America. Richmond was basically their industrial city. Atlanta was kind of bucking a little bit, but Charleston was a port city. I mean, a lot of their major cities were really just ports. It was more for that than anything else. But yeah, they loved the setup. They didn't care that they obviously didn't care about the slaves, but they really didn't care that it fucked over the average white guy that lived in the South too.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't like they didn't care that their standard of life was not what it could be. So they didn't bother to modernize. They didn't bother to urbanize. They didn't bother to industrialize. They liked the way they were doing things. And again, I get it. Mint
It's a
julep,
simpler life. Yeah. Why do you have to modernize?
mint julep on the porch sounds nice.
Why we gotta be so progressive?
Right.
I mean, obviously, free people, of course, no slaves.
Yeah.
But right now, like, why do we have to modernize? Why do we have to embrace the changes that are happening right now?
Look, I'm
Automation, AI, it's not good for us.
I'm not against arbitrary limits on things necessarily.
I think
I don't know
we've hit
where
our
the line
peak.
is, but I'm not against
Technology, yeah, let's stop. It's only going to go downhill from here. We're going to lead to our annihilation.
I can't tell if that's just me getting old or if it's actually getting scary where I'm like, I feel like things are just getting weird.
It's going to all happen very slowly. But eventually when we recognize that it is all bad for us, it'll be too late. It'll be gradual.
Hold on, there's a Hemingway quote about this. Oh, yeah, it was about how he went bankrupt. He goes, how do you go bankrupt? 2 ways. Gradually, then suddenly. That's what you're describing.
Well, Hemingway's my boy.
Yeah.
It's one of the few books I've actually read in my life. A Farewell to Arms.
I read that too. I like that book. It's a good book.
It's a good book.
It's a great book. It's freshman year English.
Sophomore year. We're a little behind you guys.
Well, public school sophomores, private school freshmen.
Many say that.
Many are saying. So the Southerners hated these fucking tariffs, and they wanted to make sure of 2 things. 1, that Quincy lost the 1828 election, and 2,
Mudslinging election.
one of the worst in history, and
Calling
2,
Jackson's wife a whore.
it killed her.
Did kill her.
Jackson was like, that you calling her a whore killed her, which in 1828 seems plausible. I mean, nowadays, people get, some high schooler will see the bully at school talk about how she's a whore, and it'll get 1,000 views on TikTok, and they'll be like, nope, finding mom's pills, I'm out.
Quincy was a weirdo, too.
Yeah, we know, the mole people.
Well, there's that, which never happened, but
Yeah, I know, unfortunately.
he wasn't actually trying to get to the center of the earth. But it's a better story. He did swim naked in the Potomac quite often.
I don't think that's weird. For the day,
I guess.
people swam naked.
I think he almost died.
He probably did.
He almost drowned on one of his
He
swims.
probably swam on a day that was slightly too cold.
His body just
It was like
locked up.
It was like 69 degrees out, and his body was like, "Oh, it's 1827."
It's just cold plunging.
Yeah,
Which obviously, been saying it for years. It's not good for you if you're trying to build muscle.
is it not?
No, it's good for recovery if you're like a elite athlete.
Like
You
more
know.
like an endurance athlete.
Yeah, like if you play a soccer game and you're going 90 plus minutes, you're Ronaldo. You have a game in 3 more days. Hit the ice bath. Yeah, recover.
yeah,
If you're lifting weights and you hop right into the ice bath, it immediately kills everything you just did.
it puts it on immediate pause.
Mm-hmm. Because when you build muscle, you're tearing your muscle up, and it has to recover, and it comes back stronger, bigger. That's how muscle growth happens. You eat, obviously, to help with that process. But when you just go into the cold plunge or the ice tub, it just nukes that process.
Sweet.
I know you need this
Yeah, it's
information
good- it's
for
good
your
info
everyday
for me,
life.
Certainly. I got to stop taking ice baths after I carry both of my screaming toddlers upstairs. I immediately just dive into a bathtub full of ice after 2 of them are punching me in the face as I carry them up to their beds. That's a workout.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had your weights fight back?
Yeah, I dropped a fucking 10-pound weight on my foot, and I think I have a broken foot right now. I'm not kidding. Somebody left a 10-pound regular weight on the bumper plates, and I was going around the other side. I wasn't looking, so I was kind of like wrapped around the squat rack, pulling off the 25-pound bumper
see the
plate.
10.
The 10 was tiny,
Yeah.
so it fell 4 feet as I'm pulling it, like from forward, like off the rack.
Yeah.
So the 10 falls onto my foot.
Was that today?
It was last week.
Okay. Oh, still
So
broken.
it still hurts.
Okay. I think you just got a bone bruise. I think you're all
I
right.
think it's a fracture, but we're gonna power through.
Yeah. It's a man's man right there.
Mm-hmm.
So the South...
I'm not gonna see a doctor.
Nah, it's stupid. So the Southern politicians in Congress wanted to do two things. A, they wanted to fuck John Quincy Adams, make sure he didn't get reelected. And B, wanted to make sure no more tariffs would get passed. So they wrote a tariff bill so shitty that it would never get passed. I'm talking about a tariff bill that fucked everybody. It was an elaborate scheme to prevent more tariff passage, while at the same time appealing to potential Andrew Jackson supporters in the North.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, our boy John C. Calhoun was one of the ringleaders of this. He and Martin Van Buren crafted the tariff bill in a way that it would also fuck New England states and stuff they imported.
Just with the purpose of it not getting passed.
Yes.
Oh, dude, I can relate with that.
This was a bill written by Southerners. The Tariff of Abominations. The tariff that people claim caused the Civil War was written by Southerners because they wanted to write a bill so bad that they thought it would never pass because it fucked big parts of the North too. And the North looked at it and said, done.
It's a musician that writes just a very low-effort song hoping to troll their fan base and becomes one of their largest songs.
Yep.
And they hate playing it every time.
I can tell you one of those songs. All the Small Things. Blink-182.
Yeah.
Tom DeLonge, I think the studio or whatever, asked them to write just like a stupid like love song or whatever. And he just wrote like the most obnoxious song he could. And it is the number
Became
one.
a smash hit.
It is the number one Blink-182 song I hear on the radio.
And he wants to kill himself every time he plays
It is. It's not a good song. I hate that song.
It's like anytime we would write something at TFM or Grand X, the things I hated the most got the most play.
Yeah.
They got the most views. They got the most reads. Just like, God damn, I hate
And then
this.
you get congratulated, and then you would sit there, for any of us that happened to it, it happened to all of us, you'd sit there and be like, well, it's not that cool because now this is the biggest representation of my sense of humor and work. And
I put no effort into
and
this.
it's not good.
Took me 15 minutes.
Yep.
Mailed it in completely.
Yep.
And the people love it.
So I'm in no way happy that this did well.
Mm-mm.
And by the way, you don't get extra money for it, so it's...
Nope.
There's no...
Hey, you're the guy that did that, right? Ah, yeah.
Great, yeah.
Sorry.
I'm very happy to hear you say that.
Glad that's what you
Yeah.
relate with my name.
So the Southerners believed, when they wrote this absolutely dog shit bill, that Quincy's supporters in New England would be against it because it tariffed a lot of stuff they imported too. And then Southern legislators, once the New Englanders were like, dude, fuck this bill, they could withdraw their support, kill the legislation while blaming New Englanders, and it would make the Adams-Clay coalition look horrible. This was literally Calhoun, Van Buren, Southern politicians trying to play... Van Buren's not a Southern politician, but he's a Democrat of that coalition, trying to play 4D chess.
And it fucked them.
Yeah.
Although Van Buren ends up being president, so maybe it's what elevates him to the presidency.
Well, there's more on that, because this is really Calhoun's brainchild. Van Buren was kind of the brain guy in terms of, like, he was the dude that worked out strategy and policy, but this was Calhoun's idea, I think.
Whose wife was the flirt? Was it Calhoun's?
Oh, for the petticoat affair.
Yeah.
I think so. I think it was Calhoun's wife that everyone was a dick to.
She was just one of the boys. It wasn't a dick. She was just very flirtatious.
No. It wasn't Calhoun's wife. Calhoun's wife was a bitch to her.
Okay.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And
But
I
whose
forget-
wife was it?
Oh, man. Let me look it up again.
It's your episode.
Yeah, you know what? We did it like 5 weeks ago, so why would I? Peggy O'Neill was the woman, and she was married to like a lower level guy. Like, it was just one of Jackson's cabinet members.
Okay.
Yeah, and Calhoun's wife was a huge bitch to her.
Women be hating on each other.
And that's what
Never
helped start
support one another.
the Civil War, kind of. So, this literal attempt at 4D chess, they just took the queen and shoved it up the South's ass, essentially.
Yeah, but they also hurt the North.
Well,
Why would you ever even like throw this into existence on the off chance it gets passed?
I don't know. And by the way, they thought they were crushing it too because the New Englanders looked at the bill at first and were like, whoa. And they tried to amend it. And every time, completely blocked by the Southerners. They were like, nope, no amendments. This is the bill. This is the shitty bill. Go ahead and try to pass it.
Boy.
So while the New Englanders, even though they tried to amend it, while the New Englanders, they didn't like the raw material hikes for themselves. They were like, ooh, that's going to be steep. They still saw that the tariffs protected the finished goods made in the North and viewed it as a net win. They were essentially like, boy, Southerners, you drive a hard bargain. You're sticking to your guns. Okay, we'll pass this one, I guess, because we do still win in the end. And they fucking passed this bill that was specifically written to not get passed by the people it fucked.
Yeah, don't put effort into tanking things. They will find a way to get by.
It's karmic. Like the universe was just like, oh, you think you're clever?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Don't be too clever.
You're not so clever. Here's my favorite part that'll make you even more annoyed. The South dubbed it the Tariff of Abominations and viewed the passing of this bill as a Northern conspiracy to make their industrialists richer at the expense of the South. They viewed the bill they wrote as a Northern conspiracy to fuck them over.
We're all looking for the guy that did this.
Unfucking believable.
Yeah.
I was maybe not going to do this episode. I was looking around and stuff, and then I saw that, and I was like, nope, we're doing this today.
Do we need another Zen right now?
We need another Zen. I'm fucking rolling right now.
You're licking your lips like you're a lizard person.
I'm a little dry. This hard AF dries me out.
I don't know if it's the hard AF. I think it's the fucking Zins.
Just get off my back!
You're turning full reptilian.
Good. Because I am actually in favor of the tariffs. I'm a reptilian.
Globalist elite.
Yeah.
Well, we know you're an
actually
elite.
The globalists hate tariffs. But whatever. So here's the other thing. One of the reasons it passed was a certain amount of New Englanders flipped. The mid-Atlantic states and farmers in western states looked at the bill and they were the same way. They were like, boy, this is going to bring us some pain. But I think in the long run, it's a good thing. Done. Let's do it.
It's so bad that it like tricks your brain.
Yeah.
You're like, maybe this is a good thing. Like, why would they write this otherwise?
Yeah. How could anyone want to do this unless it was a good idea? Like, is it so crazy it'll work?
Like, why would they write this to fuck themselves over?
They wouldn't do that. They would
not,
never do that.
It's not in their interest.
Like, they wouldn't fuck themselves over. So that has to be off the table.
Yeah.
But it was all that was on the table.
It's like a reverse psychology play that kind of gets everyone's brain in a pretzel.
Yeah.
And just like, yeah, I guess pass it.
Yeah. No one understood what was happening. Now, the South didn't vote for it. They wrote it, but they didn't vote for it. But they thought that the New Englanders wouldn't vote for it either. But the New Englanders did vote for it. And the Westerners and Mid-Atlantic states also voted for it. And it passed by I think 6 votes or something like that.
It's quite a cell phone.
It is having sex with a wood chipper cell phone. It is unfucking believable.
You don't think you could do it?
I could put my penis in a wood chipper. That's not really up for debate.
You into danger play?
I am not. No. Quiet, breathless missionary.
Okay.
Is what I'm.
All of your kids conceived.
Quiet. Well, no.
Quiet missionary.
Sammy was conceived cowgirl.
Because you were going for the girl?
Yeah.
It's a power play.
I don't know how the other two were conceived position-wise, but I can guarantee without a shadow of a doubt that I know the position my last child was conceived in.
And just know, if you conceive your child doggy style, he doesn't have a soul.
He's not going to be a good person.
Mm-mm.
Could tell you that.
He is going to be a sociopath.
Yeah. So Calhoun, who helped make this happen. Oh, I'm sorry. In 1828, the tariff was signed by Adams, even though he knew it would probably fuck him politically, and it did, and he lost to Andrew Jackson in the 1828 presidential election. Jackson's vice president, John C. Calhoun, immediately turned around as the second highest person in the federal government and told South Carolina to tell the federal government to go fuck themselves. Just ignore the tariffs. Don't charge them in your ports. Fuck the federal government.
Yeah, but Calhoun could have just told Jackson, hey, let's get rid of this shit.
Oh, they thought Jackson was going to repeal it.
Hey, my man, we have the power to do this now. Let's get rid of it.
Here's the thing. Even though Jackson was a Southerner and a slaveholder, he was, above all else, an American. And he saw a law that was constitutionally passed and constitutionally signed, and then saw people trying to subvert the authority of the federal government and said, absolutely fucking not. Because subverting that authority, even if it was done by a previous administration, would subvert his own authority and create possible further divisions in which the South might want to. It would open Pandora's box, right?
America first.
He didn't want to open Pandora's box.
Why was he attacking American institutions though? Then with like banking.
I don't know. That's above my pay grade right now. I didn't research that for today.
Okay.
But I guess I guess you could say maybe with the central bank or whatever. I don't know quite what the situation was on that, but if it was not the same as the fact that it was passed by both houses of Congress and then signed into law by a president, which is complete, and then I believe upheld by the Supreme Court as far, or any court as far as I know, he was like, this is the government. This is what you elected them to do. You voted them in. Mm-hmm. At both houses signed off on it. The president of the United States, he might not have been me, but the president of the United, it might not even been my party, but the president of the United States.
Jackson respects just the chair.
Yes.
The position.
Literally, he was like, this is the law.
A man that called his wife a whore and caused her to die.
He didn't care. He was like, this is the law. This is what the fucking paper says.
Just dragged her name through the fucking mud and all the papers.
So Jackson was like, no, you can try to, undo it or something, or, when the law, whatever, however, you could try to go through it the right way. Mm-hmm. But Calhoun was just like, nope, ignore the federal government, nullify the tariffs. And Calhoun, to his credit, I will say, actually, questioned the constitutionality of these tariffs, specifically of taxing imports without the explicit goal of raising revenue for the government. Mm-hmm. Because this was a protectionist tariff. This was literally to give northern industry a leg up and a jump start, which I suppose in a roundabout way, well, no, it wouldn't have been because they weren't really taxing industries, I don't think, back then. So it was not a revenue-raising tariff. It was literally just to help northern industries. So Calhoun was like, this is bullshit. We're not putting money in the government coffers for this. I mean, we might be a little bit, but this is mostly just to help the North at literally, truly, the expense of the South. Like, now our economy is getting sunk because everything costs more for everyone. And Jackson was like, suck my dick. That's the law. And you wrote it, asshole.
I like that position, though. You got to take both sides, see how it plays out. Like, sure, I wrote this. I don't agree with it.
But he was like...
But then if it does work out, yeah, I wrote that.
Yeah.
So he wins no matter what.
He gets to have his cake and eat it too, except he got neither of those things. The cake was taken away and he ate nothing. So in 1832...
Did he sit on the cake?
Yeah, he's farted on the cake. In 1832, Jackson signed into law the Tariff of 1832, which did make some reduction in the tariff rates. However, South Carolina was still like, that's not fucking enough. That is not enough. So at the advice of John C. Calhoun, they called a state convention, and by an overwhelming vote, the convention adopted an ordinance of nullification. So they were like, we're not going to charge tariffs at our ports. We're not going to do it. Fuck you. This is the nullification crisis.
It's always South Carolina.
Yeah. It declared the tariffs of 1828 and 1832 unconstitutional and unenforceable, sorry about that, in South Carolina, and this is where President Jackson is like, you are absolutely goddamn fucking not going against federal law. You passed this shit. This was passed constitutionally. Fuck you.
Did Jackson send in troops to South Carolina?
He told them he would invade.
Yes. Yes, Jackson.
He was like, I will fucking invade South Carolina if you do this.
Not the Palmetto State.
So South Carolina was like, obviously with a man like Andrew Jackson, South Carolina is like, oh, he'll do it.
Yeah, he doesn't really just say things.
No.
He's a man of action.
Andrew Jackson
Jackson's about that action.
is who Teddy Roosevelt wishes he was.
Yeah.
Like, full stop.
Full hickory.
I'm not old hickory.
No, but I'm saying full hickory.
Yeah. I'm not saying Teddy Roosevelt sucks or anything, but as we said before on the show, he was a tryhard who didn't need to be a tryhard. Andrew Jackson, he didn't adopt the darkness.
No, he's about that life.
He was born into it, crafted by it, molded by it. Like, Andrew Jackson was that fucking dude.
He was king of New Orleans for a couple of years.
He does what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
So Jackson's like, this is law, motherfucker. And then, obviously, he's fucking furious that he thinks he comes to a compromise, and they're still like, no, we're going to do it. So they passed another tariff in 1833, which was a compromise that finally got South Carolina to back down a little bit. For the next 9 years, tariffs were, I guess, at a level that was acceptable to everyone until there was another tariff situation in 1842, the Black Tariff of 1842. Again, signed into law by a Southerner, John Tyler, who was a slave-holding Virginian. He reluctantly signed into law, but he did sign into law. This was basically, though, he kind of didn't have a choice because there was no income tax or anything like that, and the federal government was completely bankrupt from the Panic of 1837, essentially our first major financial crisis, our first almost like Great Depression, you could call it. So he was like, I guess I have to do this. Like, we don't have any money. And this tariff was, I don't want to say harder, but in some ways more severe. Specifically, there was no credit. You couldn't drop something off and be like, put it on our tab. If you drop something off, cash on the fucking spot.
I'm going to need the exact change.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a tough way to live.
Yeah. Your boat better have two things on it: machine parts and fucking cash.
Mm-hmm.
So that one in 1842.
It doesn't really stimulate the economy.
No, that one fucked the Southern economy too, even though it was, again, signed into law by a Southerner. That one, though, was at least for revenue-raising reasons because the government was fucking broke. And you might think, oh, well, maybe that's the tariffs Southerners were talking about and how the Civil War started.
Why didn't they just have like a fundraiser selling candy bars door to door?
I don't know. They had
Worked for us when we were like 10.
I'm sure you can go grow cocoa in Florida or something like that. Lord knows the labor's free.
Or just, go to a convenience store with your football helmet and be like, hey, we need donations for our team's jerseys. Why don't we do that as a country?
That'd be good grift.
That's what you should do with your kids.
Do you want to go to it? This is just us. Yeah, I'll have my toddler there.
Just get like a polo, dry fit, a whistle.
With some like nondescript mascot on it.
Yeah.
Just like a random tiger.
Yeah. Although we can get creative with it. Like my childhood Pop Warner football team was the Termites.
What? Really?
We're the Prospect Park Termites.
Go Termies.
Yeah. Dude, thinking back, I was talking to my parents this weekend. Like first and second grade football, we're doing Oklahoma drill, nutcrackers. We're just leading with our head. I had so much CTE for a toddler, for a little tyke.
I'm sure. Good Lord.
What are we doing?
Full contact practice?
Yeah, full pads, full contact for like 2 to 3 hours.
Good Lord. They don't make men like they used to.
No, they sure don't.
Soft little boys.
We didn't play flag. We didn't have that option.
Even though I bet a Pop Warner team now would dust your asses, but
no way. With their spread bullshit?
Too fast.
Nah, I go right through that Swiss cheese line.
I formation bullshitting.
Especially me right now, dude. I would wreck some Pop Warner kids. 34-year-old Dan. Maybe. I'm just moving them like Moses,
I hope
parting
some
the sea.
animal that hit puberty at 8 just takes you to pieces.
No chance.
Steps on your broken ass foot.
Icebox is getting drilled.
So the tariffs. So you might think though these 1842 tariffs. Oh, maybe that's a tariff that did the Civil War. Those were revoked in 1848, and up until the Civil War, the tariff situation was very favorable to the South. In fact, the South controlled Congress from almost the entire time between 1846 and the Civil War, and the presidency the entire time. They had Democrats in throughout. Buchanan was from Pennsylvania, but he was sympathetic to the South. So the economic situation for the South was fucking fine between 1846 and 1861. But it is, to me, a really, really funny dynamic at play here where I don't think there's a single good guy.
Southerners, you got nobody to blame but yourself.
Yeah.
You did this.
They wrote the fucking bill. And in their hubris, thought they were so smart, thought they were so much smarter, that it would never get fucking passed. And the North, in their greed, was like, hell yeah, fuck everyone else. Let's get our factories fucking cooking.
You're throwing that alley-oop up. We're going to slam it down.
Yeah. You toss us a lob, we're going to fucking throw it down. It fucked the Southern economy twice, I guess, between the black tariffs and the 1828 tariffs.
Not our idea. Yours.
And it did help Northern industry, but it did not help the and then the other thing too is like the South never at any point was like looked around and thought we should become more self-sufficient. They were still.
The question is though, was Calhoun a double agent?
For what, the North?
The North, yeah.
He honestly, he set the South up to fail time and time again. Out of straight hubris.
Maybe he was bored because his wife was such a bitch.
That
just wanted to stay and have problems to solve in office.
Because he couldn't solve the problem at home.
No. So he's like, honey, I got another thing.
I'm going to work.
I'm not coming home.
I'm working late today.
Yeah.
Fucking again.
Just wanted to stare at whatever her name was again. O'Neill.
Yeah, Patty O'Neill, some bullshit like that. Peggy O'Neill. She was pretty hot for the day.
A good time gal.
Yeah. But yeah, the North, absolute dickheads for being like, yeah, fuck everyone else. Let's get our factories cooking. The South, absolute dickheads for trying to play a game of 4D chess they were not equipped to play. And then, again, the South, they had no intention of being self-sufficient.
It's also not 4D chess. That's just ripping open a grenade and putting it at your feet.
Here's the thing about people who think they're playing 4D chess. That's all they're doing. No one's playing 4D chess.
Blowing their legs off.
Yeah. No one has ever in the history of the world actually played 4D chess. They say they're playing 4D chess. They think they're playing 4D chess. But it is just like a funny situation to me where the South fucked themselves twice, really. One, by writing the bill, but two, they never wanted to be self-sufficient. They were just like, I want the cheapest possible goods, but I don't want to.
I'm not going to do it.
Evolve. I don't want to evolve into modernity at all.
Dude, I get that though. Why would I?
Borderline Amish. And then the North, just being like, yeah, fuck them. Let's fucking do this.
I kind of you've made me sympathetic to the South today.
I am sympathetic for most Southerners because the tariffs fucked them. I am not sympathetic to the people that wrote that bill at all.
No, it's not really our job. You can't force that on us now.
I mean,
we live a simple life.
We just want to live. We don't need railroads and fucking. That is essentially an encompassment of tariffs in general to me. But what'd you learn today?
I learned that the person responsible for this, Calhoun, he's quite a trickster throughout U.S. history.
He's
caused a lot of issues.
A fucking dick. Like he just causes problem after problem.
Just total cell phones.
Yeah. Between the Petticoat Affair
and marrying such a bitch
and the 1828 tariffs. Oh, that's the Petticoat Affair, yeah. Really just fucks himself time and time again. Who's today's Hitler?
Dude, just hire some Irish dudes you can kill.
There were plenty.
There's so many of us that you could have just taken out.
Ready to die. Ask New Orleans.
Cheaper. It's expensive to own a slave.
It is. That was one of the arguments that they made in favor of slavery. They were like, the slaves live better than your Irish factory workers.
Right.
And aside from the freedom part, I don't know that they were wrong.
I don't know if the Irish were free.
They were freer, maybe a little bit.
Not really.
They could leave.
But that's how you modernize. You pay shit wages.
Yeah.
To, another up-and-coming invasive race.
You could certainly call the Irish invasive. Can't really call black people invasive.
No, I'm talking about Hispanics now.
Oh, okay.
You pay an Irishman a half penny a day.
The average slave cost I'll go 1828 actually. Oh man, a prime field hand is what the quote is here. $500 to $800 in 1828.
That's a lot of money.
Women of childbearing age, because you owned anything that was born, $400 to $600. Children or old people were $100 to $300. I don't know why children were less. I guess you have to put in the work.
Yeah, but the children has more years.
I know. I don't get
He's
that.
a prospect. Maybe you're just paying for potential.
So $500 in 1828 is like an upwards of $20,000.
Because what if you buy a lemon? Just a total dud.
He has to just serve your mint juleps, basically. So an unskilled adult male factory worker in 1828, $1 a day at most. That would be, they split the difference, 75 cents is 50 cents to $1. $225 a year.
But that's everything that's on the books.
Yeah, true.
So, come on, dude. We're talking under the table here.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But the fuck, everybody was an asshole in this one, and the tariffs kind of fucked everyone because it did help lead it. Look, the Civil War was not about tariffs, but it did help further the divide between North and South because the South was like, clearly the North doesn't care about us, and the North was like, yeah, fuck you, I guess. I don't know.
So now the South is pro-tariff?
What, now?
Today?
I would assume it polls better. I don't know how it polls in A to B, but I would assume it polls better in red states than blue states. But
Okay.
It doesn't poll well at all.
No. We'll see, though.
We shall see.
We shall see.
But yeah,
It could work out or it could not work out.
That was the second most famous tariff.
Those are the options.
Yeah, work or won't.
I'm a modern-day philosophizer.
You are. That was the second most famous tariff situation in United States history. Smoot-Hawley's the first, but that's...
Who cares?
This one was funnier to me because it was...
Smoot-Hawley is literally depressing.
Yeah, it was during... It made a depression.
Yeah. Well, amplified it.
Amplified it, yeah, quite a bit. All right, well, that's all I got for today.
Cool. Check out Patreon, patreon.com/softcorehistory. 2 additional episodes every week, Wednesday and Friday. Those drop. And, at this point, 3 years, 3+ years of evergreen content. Takes a while to get through. So, yeah, $5. You're not going to get better value than that.
Well worth your time.
We might have to hit... Dude, do you think the tariffs will affect the Patreon?
Well, Apple's tariffs do, so...
That is true. We got hit with... it doesn't affect you guys because we're keeping the price at $5. But, yeah, they're paying us less money.
If you sign up through iOS, if you sign up
on your phone.
Your phone
Which you probably
using
do.
Apple Pay, right?
They'll
Right.
take like a bigger percentage. If you sign up on your,
On your browser.
computer,
Sign
maybe
up on,
if it's not an Apple,
No, you...
sign up through a PC.
Yeah.
Go to your local library. Sign up to our Patreon through a PC, and we get all the money.
Most of the money.
Well, yeah, a bigger percentage of the money.
Patreon still takes a cut, but yeah.
This is our lives, Rob.
Woo! Well, that's all I got for today. For Dan Regester, I'm Rob Fox.
You just got saucered.